All right, here we are. It's Friday again, and it's Coach Manny, and I'm excited to. It's Friday afternoon, and you're ready for the weekend, right? I know you are, but have you closed that last deal? Or is this Friday afternoon the time for you to put that last deal together, sew it together, and be able to celebrate on the weekend because you closed the deal? Well, if you're going to spend this half an hour with us today, you might just pick up enough that you can close that deal and be rocking and rolling as you move forward. At least that's our intention or our hope, right? That you'll be able to do that. As Coach Manny, as always on Friday, I'm excited to be here with you. I am fired up, pumped up, and ready to rock. We've got some stuff on the side there, some links for you, and just to share with you. They are hot links. Okay, so you can pick them up, go with them. The links on the side we're sharing with you. One is for our time management tool. Go out, take a look at it. It's $19. It's a 6-day process that'll, for you salespeople out there, will help you out tremendously. And then we have a new Facebook group, and I am really excited about this. I was on a mastermind call this morning, and it was like a brainstorm. We decided to put together this new Facebook group, and it's just out there. I know that I don't even know if anybody's joined yet, but the intention of this new Facebook group is this same thing we do here. We're going to educate, but now, not just are you going to get education from me, we're going to bring plenty of people into this group and hopefully teach you more and more about sales, because that's what we're here for, to make you the best salesperson around. And as I started the conversation with, it's Friday afternoon, pick up something today that's going to close that final deal for you this afternoon so you can go and really pop along and enjoy this weekend. That's my intention, because we're going to today talk about close. So that's probably enough housekeeping, other than the fact we're here every Friday. If you don't get to see it all, you miss part of it, remember the recording's always up on our YouTube channel, Manny Nowak. Check it out and check us out there, and be ready to roll. All our videos are out there, and but they're going to be more and more linked to this new Facebook group. That's why I really want you to get in. So if you're not in, go type in Double Your Sales Group. You'll see it, and of course the link's on the side there if you want to just go directly. And invite anybody else you know who might be interested in selling. So here we are. Let's take a look. There's a lot of stuff I can concentrate on when it comes to closing, but today I really want to talk about how do you get over those objections? How do you get through, around, and just get over the objection so you can close the deal, because these objections hold so many people hostage and keep them from closing the deal. And you say, what's going on? Why isn't the deal closing? And that's what we're going to try to help you with today, as we show you some techniques and to make the close easier, better. I don't know if simpler is, because sales is a process, and sales, people always say, there's not much to sales. But those of you out there who make your living by selling know that closing the deal is a critical piece. So let's talk a little bit about them. Let me start by saying you got to handle each objection you get in a sales process one by one. Don't try to group them together. And second thing is, you got to handle them so that the person that you're trying to sell to, the prospect or the customer, is comfortable and they feel good. And you work until they're comfortable. Now, what I don't want you to do is high pressure sell them. I was in a conversation yesterday, and we were talking about, that high pressure salespeople come over. And if some of you are in that business out there, I apologize, but selling vacuums, selling various other things. And I was sharing that initially years ago when I was in high school, I was selling Fuller brush door to door, right? So That's high pressure sales. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what are the reasons, what are your objections, and can I handle them? Now, can you always handle them? Of course not. But if I can handle them, we do. One thing we'll tell you, never assume. So what we're trying to do is you've got to know, and you're really trying to flip it over to a yes. So you got to get creative. You've got to guide. Don't get too pushy. But let me just caution you, because today there's so much soft sale, and everybody thinks soft. It's okay to be a little pushy, but not to the point where you're what we call arrogant. When you get to arrogance, you're in the wrong business. I hate arrogant salespeople. All right. The other thing I'll share with you is a no is better than everything but a yes. So let me just put that in your bag of tricks there, and we'll go through it. All right. What's the number one thing we're going to deal with? What's the number one objection? The price is too high. The cost is too high. You're more than I thought. It's too high. All right. So what am I going to do when someone says that to me? Am I going to lower the price? Absolutely not. And again, I was in a conversation yesterday with a client about this very thing. When you start playing with the price and you start lowering the price, the question to the client always is, well, why wasn't it that low in the first place? Why did you put it up here? So don't play with the price. There are plenty of other ways for you to deal with this situation. Number one is to break it down into pieces. And do you know what I mean by that? I mean, let's see. I mean, you take something, and let's say your price is $1,200 more than the competition. Okay. Now, or 12,000 more. Let's just work with 1,200. And the customer says it's too high. You say, okay, listen, how much too high? And if you can get that number, it's great, because you can then lay it out. Say, okay, 1,200. All right, so $1,200 too high. But let me ask you, is this product what you would really like to have? I mean, if we were the same price as these guys, would you charge us? Now you got to ask that. If we were the same price, and usually you say, of course I would buy you. I want to buy from you. I like you, Manny. I would like to do business with you. But you're $1,200 too high. Okay, so and you say, okay. So let's break that down. $1,200 over the next year, okay, is $100 a month. You agree? Or you can ask it even better, which is $1,200 a month is how much? I mean, $1,200 a year is how much a month, if they're good with math. And you get them to say $100. Okay, so $100 a month, which breaks down to how much a week? In 4 weeks, that's $25 a week, which breaks down into how much a day. So it's our product, which you're going to spend, I don't know, $10,000 for, is $1,200 over our competition, but it's only $5 a day. Now you have to ask yourself, is this product worth $5 a day? The price of a Starbucks coffee. Is it worth not going with us? Now, you can form that, flip it, view it, change it any way you want. But the point is, that's what we're going to do. You can talk about, let's go to some longer terms, okay? If the payment over the next 2 years is too high, let's take the payment down and let's flip it over 3 years. Again, another way to get the person to look at a difference in price. You can deal with specials. All right, I'm going to tell you what. In addition to the product, I'm going to give you a couple things free. Absolutely. But never lower the price. And remember what I said when I started. The reason I don't want you to lower the price is because it just opens up that question, which is, well, why was the price higher in the first place? And you don't want to get there. All right. Now, next objection you could get is, I'm not interested. All right. Now, you got to sit back and you got to say, that kind of, and when people tell me that, I'm kind of a little thrown off my game for a minute, because you brought me in here. I'm sitting across from you. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4 meetings, and all of a sudden you're not interested? I missed something. And that's the piece that you got to understand. I missed something. What did they not like about the process? Why don't they like it? I've got to ask some questions, because not interested, you were interested, you saw the stuff on the web, you talked to us, I've been here, I know you were interested. Somehow I moved you from being interested to not being interested. So I would ask some questions about, well, what didn't you like? And was this a problem? And tell me a little bit about what you did like. Okay. What were the things that maybe you didn't like? You just got to ask those questions, and that's okay. All right, let's keep going. Let me think about it. Don't you love that one? When someone says, let me think about it. Now, I'll get back to you, right? Let me think about it. I'll get back to you. Now, why doesn't that work? Well, it doesn't work for a very simple reason. It doesn't work because most people never get back to you. I'm going to be totally honest with you that most people, when they say, let me think about it, you try to get them back on the phone, you try to get reconnected with them. It's almost impossible. So I'm there. You're in there, or you have them on the phone. You may never get that connection again. You have got to work them, and you've got to find out what's going. Few, if any, come back. So you got to keep them at the table. Well, you were, but was there something that you didn't like about our product? Was there something that I said? You've lost the deal. See, the thing you got to remember is when you get to a lot of these objections, you're not getting a deal. So you can take a little bit more risk. It's okay to take that added risk because you may just close the deal, and that's really what you want. So it's okay. Take a few minutes, ask a couple more questions, but try not to get up. This is a great time. Remember what I teach people. I didn't teach you today, but I'll recap for you. One of the things I teach people is if you're going into a client and you're doing a sales presentation, don't ask for a cup of coffee. Always say, or don't accept a cup of coffee or anything right now. Say, I might take that later, because this is a great time right now for you to say, all right, well, I want to ask you a few more questions, but I will take that cup of coffee now if it's still okay, if the offer's still open. Because again, we've got to move them from let me think about it to I want you to think about it right now, and I want you to buy. All right. Fear of change. Your product, especially, and I did software for years, and software creates change. And today, there's so much technology coming into companies that it's all over the place. So there's a fear of change. You have to create a want for your product that is higher than their fear of the change. So if they say to you, I don't think we can change, you haven't solved the problem. You need to go back now and in your mind and say, okay, how can I make this easier for them? Is there some additional training I could get them? Is there some additional people I could connect them with who have gone through this? What can I do to make them more comfortable, make it easier for them? Should I share some more examples of people? I know people who have been exactly for you. And if you can do empathy because you've been there, let's say you've been a user, and because a lot of people of you who end up being vendors were users of these same products at one point, you can say, I know exactly where you are. I was there myself. Again, offer special help, but move them from fear, because they're buyers. Let's face it. They might be a little afraid of making the move, but they're buyers. And I do a lot of this with CRM today. We're doing a lot of CRM and trying to get people to move into that process, and they're afraid. So we try to get over that fear of change. All right. Now, a warning here for you on the close. Don't let your personal opinion get into the process. I want you, and those of you who follow me, I'm a strong Christian man, and I believe all that, but I'm still going to tell you to leave your politics, your religion, and your personal opinion at the door. Because if you're going through here and you're getting some objections, so many times one of these things could have triggered an old wound in your buyer, and they're not going to buy. So be careful. And it's tough to get that back. So don't go there. I mean, if you're a fellow Christian man and you and I sit down, I could talk to you about religion if you open it up. That's fine. Okay? Politics I never talk about because it's just, people are so, and in today's world, let's just leave it all at the door, okay? Enough said. All right, now what do you do when they say, well, I'm going to have to let my boss see it? Well, first of all, if you get that, I'm going to tell you, you need to get into my qualification class because you didn't qualify them right. And the second thing is you never sell to the person who isn't a buyer. And you never let the person who isn't the buyer control selling your product to their boss. Because, look, let's face it, I've been selling for many, many years. Many of you out there have been selling for a long time. Many of you have been selling the product you're selling for a long time. You know this product. You know it inside. You know it outside. You know how it works. You know how it operates. And all of a sudden, this person who's sitting across the table, who you've had an hour or two conversation with over the last few months, is going to take and sell their boss that they should buy your product. Come on, let's face it. No, what you got to do is you got to say, look, let me go with you. Well, I don't know if we could do that today. Let's set up an appointment if your boss isn't in today. Do not let them sell your product. You got to sell it. No one else can sell your product. Who are they? How can we help them? Ask that question. Well, okay, let me see. Your boss needs to see it. Let's go over there and see him right now. I'm good. In fact, you know what? I'll cancel my next appointment or I'll push it back a little bit and let's go in and see your boss, because you do not want to leave there and have them try to sell your product. This is one of those things I'm crazy about. And as you can see, I'm fired up here and I feel really pumped up about this because I don't want somebody else selling my product for them. Timing. Your timing's wrong. I'm not ready right now. My timing's just not there. Come on. You wouldn't have taken the time for me if that was the case. You wouldn't have taken the time to talk to me if you weren't ready. It must be something you said. Again, let's dig a little bit. Let's ask some questions like, well, you know, when you called me, I thought you were kind of ready. Is there something, is there too much here? Is there something that makes you uncomfortable? Ask those questions. Let me just take a quick break here for those of you who came in late and those of you who are just getting here. Just want to remind you, if you missed any of this, it's out on the YouTube channel. Manny Nowak, just go out to the YouTube channel, MANNY NOWAK. And we're always putting them out there. So if you miss it or you miss part of it, you can pick this up again. We're here every Friday from noon to 12:30 Eastern time with some tip to help you. Now, if you've been wondering what those things are out on the side there, we've got a new Facebook sales group that I would like you all to get into. This is going to be a group where we're going to share unbelievable sales tips, sales information, everything you need to become a superstar. And so I want you to be in that group. So please sign up for that group today. And the second thing out there on the side is time management. And we have, if you're a salesperson out there and you're wondering about those little spaces of time when you're waiting, when you're stuck in traffic, when you're just between a couple things and you're wondering, how do I use them effectively? This is a course for you. So both those products are out there. Just want to make you aware of that. You know, we're always blowing through time. So let me keep going. Now, what happens when they say, well, we already use your competitor? Okay, let's face a couple facts. Number one is if they were happy with your competitor, they would have never let you in that door. Let's face it. When you're happy with me, are you going to bring my competitor in and say, well, I'd like to talk to you about coaching? You're not going to do it. Although I recommend you go ahead do it. I'm okay with it. And a lot of us are okay with it because we know we sell the best product. But I'm telling you right now, they would have never brought you in. So that's not the real reason. Now, second thing is we never say anything bad about the competitor. In fact, if we can, we don't. And if we can, we say something good about them. Just remember that. Don't say anything bad about the competitor. If possible, let's say something good about them and about what they do. And that actually will help you. Now, you know how I feel about competitors anyway. I don't think you should have any competitors because I think you should dominate your market. And the only way you can dominate your market is to really get into a tighter and tighter niche. So never say anything bad about your competitors, and never be, see here what happens sometimes with the competitor when you're trying to close, and you say something bad, you're actually saying to this person, well, you made a bad decision by going with these people, and that just doesn't work, does it? You know, I would rather say, you know, you made a smart decision going with our competitor because I tell you, they have a good product. We've just done a lot more over the last year, and we have really created what we believe is just a much better solution for you. Now, you can stay where you're at, and you can still be way ahead of most people out there, but I would like you to take a look at this. So I'm always going to try to say something good, right? Now, what about the old one that really gets us? I'll call you. I'll call you. Yes, you'll call me and the check's in the mail. You know how many times that works? Come on. I'm in there now. I've got nothing. Remember what I said? I've got nothing to lose. Do you understand? I'll call you is as good as they might as well said, well, I'm not going to call you. You got to start with, like, I would like to ask some what if questions. Take the risk out of this deal. There's something, again, that you didn't solve and you need to ask. Okay, well, you'll call me. Okay, but let me ask you one more question here. Could I get that cup of coffee now? And I will use that. But the what if question is, what do you think would have made me better at selling this? Is there something that I missed? What if we did something a little different than we usually do? What is holding you back? What is the concern you have? Don't be afraid to ask. You know, that person sitting across that table from you, and I want you to understand that. That person sitting across that table from you brought you in. They spent their time with you. They wanted what you had, and somehow you took them to the other side. Now you got to bring them back. What is it that we're missing? Is there something that perhaps our product doesn't do that you think it should do? Or perhaps you don't understand it does do it, but you always got to ask. Please don't be afraid to ask. Now, here's another one. And sometimes you get these questions, and I'm like flabbergasted. And a client says, well, I'm not in the market right now. What? Now, again, what I'm trying to show you is all these excuses would never be there if you solved all the objections, but you didn't. You missed something, and you got to find it because no one takes the time to meet you. Everybody's busy. Nobody's out there just, I'll just have a meeting with vendors. What turned them off? And again, let me have that coffee now, that water now, that tea now. If they say not in the market now, you don't say, well, you called me in here. What the heck you mean you're not in the market? Don't say that. Say, oh, I understand. What would put you in the market? What would make you look at our product a little more deeper? Is there something that you might be looking for that, ask, because you missed something. And I want you to understand that. So what you have to ask now is, I want you to go back, and I want you to go back to your process. And I want you to understand the major objections that you get in your business when you're closing. What I gave you today was some generic ones, but what is it in your process? What are those things that you're getting? And if you're getting the same type of objections all the time, your sales process is missing something. Your sales process isn't hitting the hammer squarely on the head. It is missing certain things. And you need to understand, what are those things that I'm missing? And you need to incorporate them back into your sales process. Because, if you always get the objections, well, it doesn't do this. Well, you didn't show the client that it really did do that. Or you didn't understand that this client really needed the process to do something. And if your product didn't do it, you shouldn't have been there anyway, should you? These are the things that I want you to look at. So re-engineer your sales process. One of the things I try to teach you out there, and it's not just in closing, it's in everything. Make sure you understand your sales process answers all the questions that people out there could have. That way you don't get any questions. When I'm done, I don't get a lot of questions. Why? Because I already answered all those questions. Now, when I sell coaching, I already answered the questions. The big questions are, how much does it cost? How does it work? What if this? What if that? And I go through those and try to answer those questions. If I'm selling software, when I was selling software, that I would understand, these are the 10 most likely questions that the customer is going to ask. And I keep getting them all the time. I incorporated it into the presentation. And then I didn't get those questions anymore. In fact, I closed more deals. So what are you going to do this afternoon? What are you going to do this afternoon? You're going to take some of these techniques. You're going to take one of these techniques. And the one that I didn't spend a lot of time on is, you need to make sure you're listening. Okay? Listening. Make sure you're hearing what the customer is really saying, or the prospect. Make sure you understand what they're really saying. Don't interpret in the middle. You know how we talk about in that whole listening thing? Don't start formulating answers. Always have a pen and some paper or a tablet where you're taking notes and you're just jotting something down. So when you get to the end, you can go back. Don't let your mind go off of the focus of listening to the customer. So there you have it. I know it's just a few. And we could spend, and then when I do this training, I spend 2 hours just on objections because it's that important. In fact, one of the things we're looking at now is doing a whole presentation just on the things that customers come up with all the time to stop the deal. Now, how do we handle them and how do we become more effective? That's what we're here for. Just a final share. Get out there on our Facebook group. Please join this group, because you think you're getting something out of these Hangouts, you're going to get even more. And the Hangout access, we're going to give you special accesses out there. This group is going to be a tremendous group for you to be a part of. Again, that's Double Your Sales group. It's out there on Facebook, and we hope you can join us. Hey, we hope you can join us every week. If you want to be a guest, you have a great product, a process, something you think people need that's going to help them be more effective, get a hold of me, send me an email. We're going to put you on the show. Also, just so you know, we have a new website coming out. We're doing some rebranding. The new brand will be simply, easily, and simply Coach Manny. Coach Manny. Everything we will be doing moving forward will be labeled that way. And that's how we'll operate. Anytime you have questions, email them in. Give me a call. You know, all the contact data is always on the phone list. If you're not on our list to be here weekly, if you signed up, we'll put you on that list. If you're watching this on YouTube and you want to get on the list, get go out to the website and sign up for our weekly session. Every week we're here. I'm out of time. Thank you very much. And get out there today and close some business so you have a greater week.